Zilliqa is about to do something extraordinary in the next coming few days. Right now, we are only 3% up and the market cap is still around 190 million US dollars. The 24-hour volume has drastically improved. I was checking yesterday, the volume was roughly around 10 million US dollars. But all of a sudden, today, we are experiencing an increase in terms of the volume. And this is very important. Ooh, by the way, a lot of you a while back were laughing at me when I was telling you that I have buy orders close to or rather below 0.8 of a penny. So anything that was going to be in between these levels, right? I had like some sort of aggregated buy orders and I was ready to just buy it up. I was pretty ready to buy everything up. So what I did was I had a lot of these different buying orders all the way below 0.8 of a penny all the way down to about 0.4 of a penny, right? So what I had separate orders on Bitfinex and Binance. And guess what happened? On Bitfinex, a substantial amount of my orders got filled a few days ago. I'm sure a lot of you were wondering, a lot of you were calling me crazy, but take a look at what happened here. Take a look at what happened here. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that splendid? I told you, I told you, I told you. And I'm just here to rub it in your face because a lot of you were thinking that I'm crazy. Just like I talked about last time, right? Usually there are black swan events, and this dump happened when the price of Bitcoin dropped 10%. You know, like the past few days, the price of Bitcoin was around 12,000 US dollars and then it dropped all the way to about 10,000 something. So this massive black swan event, and guess what happened? My orders were filled. So I really hope that you guys understand the importance of having patience and just being able to take advantage of these black swan events. Now, can you imagine the amount of profit that I was instantly able to make off of this one crazy black swan event? I mean, this price buyback was very instantaneous, so let me just switch over to the 4 hourly. I mean, that just happened like literally in a few minutes and I was able to buy, get my orders filled, and then I was like instantly in profit. Of course, not all of my orders were filled because I had like separate, orders all the way coming down to this area. But for all the orders that already got filled, I am in profit and I am super happy and excited, even though the orders that I had on Binance didn't really get filled because on Binance we didn't really have a very good dump. It was very minimal. I mean, it just went to about half of a penny there, 0.015. So that was pretty insignificant, if I can put it that way. But however, my orders were filled on Bitfinex and I am super happy. And I also have some exciting news as far as Zilliqa is concerned, because I really think we are going to see some sort of price increment, especially in the next coming few days, due to the fact that BTC right now is currently ranging. We are not really deciding whether we're going to continue the pump or whether we are going to continue dumping. So what is mostly going to happen is we're going to have this sort of situation where the price of BTC is going to be ranging, and during that time a lot of these alternative cryptocurrencies might potentially end up pumping. And if we take a look at these oscillators, right, obviously we are having some sort of double bottom in terms of us being kinda oversold. Of course, the optimum buying entry is these extreme oversold areas, but sometimes we usually get these bounces. Like for example, we did have this sort of bounce right over here and then we ended up correcting towards the upside. So are we gaining a little bit of buying power in terms of Zilliqa? Potentially we might be facing that, and then like for example, this area around this area, right, we are having almost a similar pattern. Look at that, and then we ended up pumping to the upside. So can we have a repeat of that particular scenario? who knows, we are most likely going to be able to witness what's really going to happen. However, I really think that we are having some good buying power, and perhaps we might have some sort of change in scenario. So this is one of the reasons why I am looking forward to today, and obviously up to Friday, and we are going to be able to witness what is going to happen. So if you take a look at the buying volume is increasing. We are potentially increasing, and we are having so many bulls, and potentially we might be able to pump and just do some great things. Besides that, there have been some drastic changes with regards to Zilliqa, because for example, they have changed their tokenomics, and this is a very positive and great sign, especially in terms of the price appreciation. So that is obviously going to have like a long-term effect in terms of how people perceive Zilliqa, and just how everything is going to be done as far as the economics of the blockchain is concerned. So I am so happy, and if you guys are looking forward to buying for the long term, I would rather you wait until we have like that dramatic drop with regards to BTC, because everything is directly correlated to BTC. If BTC drops, all these alternative cryptocurrencies are also going to face a retracement. So this is one of the reasons why it is important to time your entries whenever BTC is having those black swan events, because you're going to be able to purchase a lot of these alternative cryptocurrencies at extremely cheap prices. Remember, according to the Wall Street cheat sheet, right? I'm sure you guys are already aware of the Wall Street cheat sheet, because I have been talking about that, right? We are still in the disbelief phase, sort of suckers rally. So what's really going to happen is we're going to have a retracement, and during that period, that's when you're supposed to be buying and just storing these cryptocurrencies for the future, for the next bull run, that is. So please be very careful, and I'm sure you guys are going to really enjoy once you get to buy that particular dip, which is going to come as far as BTC is concerned. So when you do that, you guys are going to be set for the next bull run. So to all the people who've been asking me when is the right time to purchase for the long term, I think you can just hang in there and wait a little bit long enough in order for us to have that disbelief sort of dump, and then you guys are going to be able to purchase for the long term. I think that's a better play. I mean, you can do it right now, but why not get it cheaper? I mean, it's all about patience, you see. It's all about just waiting for the right opportunity to strike. Once an opportunity presents itself, you have to take advantage, and you have to be ready for these scenarios. So you can trade, you can swing trade here and there, and it's all good. You can, just get in out of trades, but for the ultimate long-term investment portfolio, wait for a better price. A better price is definitely going to come. Just be patient. So anyhow, let me just share with you a very important tokenomics video as far as Zilliqa is concerned. I did share it a few days ago, but I feel like it didn't really get the attention that I really wanted it to get, because I really want you to understand the type of changes that Zilliqa is making, especially with regards to their blockchain. So just take a look at this video, and yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Drop all the questions in the comment section below, all your contributions, all your suggestions. Please drop everything in the comment section below, and talk to you a little bit later. It's been your boy Muna, aka Beyond 10x. Thank you. Bye.
Hello everyone, I'm Hanwant, the VP of Ecosystem Growth at Zilliqa. And today I'm going to touch on a topic that's of high regards to you guys, and that is the tokenomics changes to its ZIL. This is going to be phrased as the Zilliqa Improvement Proposal, the ZIP, and we're going to request for comments from the community members before we implement it. But we're kicking things off as of today. So what is the tokenomics changes that we're looking at? First, we have to look at the verticals that we want to actually focus on in the next coming quarters. We want to really create a circular economy for ZIL, and that really comes in three aspects. First, we have to tackle the staking for ZIL, so that it rewards the holders for actually holding on top of the ZIL. And that's going to be implemented through the seed note staking program with delegation in place coming Q3 this year. And second, we want to power the open finance ecosystem using ZIL as the medium of exchange and also as the liquidity incentive to try to pull some liquidity over from, for example, the Ethereum chain. And the ultimate aim really for this open finance ecosystem within Zilliqa is to try to bridge between the ASEAN world and also with the US world, between ASEAN stablecoins like IDR, VND, against the USDC and USDT. And last of all, we're going to talk about how we can accrue value to it. So as the ZIL transactions happen to increase over time as adoption actually happens, so there's growth in the economy of ZIL. And that's by means of actually burning the transaction fees in terms of ZIL. And we're going to burn it in a way that is actually recycled back into the 0x0 address where the block rewards pool actually comes from. So to summarize, is that the tokenomics changes is really about creating incentive for people to stake and also incentive for people to hold on to ZIL as it accrues value as the Zilliqa blockchains get adopted more and more. And there's three means of doing that, which is transaction fees is going to be burnt. The DS block reward has to be increased in order to accommodate for the stakers rewards pool. So we have to actually increase the annual inflation by about 40%. And we also have to reallocate some of the DS block rewards. Instead of 95% to 5% right now for miners versus stakers, we're going to change it up a bit to 60-40%. So what it means really for the miners actually is that with the increase in block rewards and also the reallocation, they will face actually a minus 12% from their current rewards. And we are going to talk to them about actually giving them a seed note so that they can operate and also be able to stake their mine rewards directly into the rewards pool so that there's no selling pressure in some sense. And they also get rewarded in the staking program. So what it means with all these tokenomics changes for staking. First, with delegated staking coming out in Q3, let's put that aside. We actually have a few delegated seed node operators that's all going to come on board. And that's really just the Zilliqa people, the community that's amazing. And the Mullet, well, amazing wallet. And there's our favorite Field Block Explorer that's going to operate one of the seed node operators. And the Atomic wallet, which has already committed also at the same time. And for staking, going forward with the tokenomics changes, we can actually uncap it, so we don't have to cap it at 610 million ZILs, which is in phase 0 right now. So phase 1 will be uncapped. And with the uncap, right, we also want to try to hit some staking interest that is of interest to people. So if the staking interest rate is actually quite low, people might not want to stake. And that's where, with all the parameters changes that we're suggesting, at an 80% circulating supply stake, we can also have about more than 6% interest rate for the holders. So this is the outlook that we're looking at. And if you really want to take a look at how the interest rate changes according to the circulating supply that's being staked, you can see that if there's very little interest in the staking, the interest rate is quite high, so that people have more interest into staking it. And you could go up to 48% at the start where there's no circulating supply being staked, and then going all the way to somewhere around 6% when there's 80% stake. If 100% is being staked, we can still have at least 4% of interest rate for the holders. But with all these changes, right, for the emission cycles and also with you can see actually that might be some inflation going on. So how are we going to combat that? And that's where the burning of transaction fees comes in. So if what we want to achieve is that if the transaction fees that is being burned is more than the block rewards that's being newly minted and added to the circulating supply, you can actually have a very low net inflation going on and also even net deflation going on. And we're going to approach that by doing two things. First, we're going to change the gas mechanics, increasing the transaction gas limit for the blocks by 185% to accommodate more transactions so that we can have higher throughput, more transactions, and more transaction fees being burned. We're going to reduce a bit of the solar operating gas consumption because of the increase in the decrease in the execution time that we have done with ZIL operations thanks to our optimization of the platform. This will try to reduce the gap between the gas cost for payment transactions and also the smart contract transactions. And last, we're going to increase the minimum gas price by 100%, so from 0.001 ZIL to 0.002 ZIL. This will overall increase the gas cost in order to facilitate more burning of transaction fees. So these are the three different changes for the gas mechanics we are proposing ahead. And with that, actually you can see the effects on transaction fees. So if, let's say, we have a conservative number, 50% of the transaction block of 2.5 million gas being filled at any point of time, then you can translate that to around a net inflation of about 1.22%. And 50% fill block actually is not that hard to achieve for a high throughput blockchain, because it translates to about 120 transfers for ZRC2 tokens per second, 120 ZRC2 token transfers per second. And you think about it, it's actually really possible, considering all the stablecoins that we're going to mint with our partners and we're going to bridge across, and all the utility tokens that we can power using the Zilliqa blockchain. So definitely, if 50%, I feel that it's achievable. And if actually you see that if our transactions actually scales, adoption actually scales with time going forward, if the average fill block is more than 60%, we can have even net deflation going on. And that is one key factor. Net deflation could actually decrease the circulating supply in the entire supply pool, and we will be able to make ZIL more scarce and also accrue more value towards ZIL as the growth of the platform actually increases. So how are we going to power so many transactions on top of Zilliqa? How are we going to actually create the growth within Zilliqa ecosystem? And that's really through the open finance initiative that we are going to spearhead with the ZIL Hive growth program that we have. ZIL Hive growth program is going to be a 3 pillars program, where there's educational side to educate people about Zilliqa and blockchain. And we have the grants side, which is going to give out grants towards people who are building proof of concept and also infrastructure toolings for Zilliqa. And there's also the accelerator program that we're creating with the Tribe Accelerator team in order to incubate and accelerate companies that are building open finance products on top of Zilliqa blockchain. And if you take a look at the open finance technological stack right now, you can actually see that we have pretty mature layer 1 and layer 0, and we are looking to build up the layer 2 and 3 currently. And one of the key achievement that we will have for layer 3 is going to be the DEX that's coming up in Q3 2020 this year. That's the DEX that we're building together with our partner Switcho, called ZIL Swap. And with the ZIL Swap DEX, we can actually power the higher level layers, for example the app layer, where there's the lending facilities, lending protocols, remittance services, and C2B cross-border payments. So these are the people that the app layers are people we are looking for currently, actively. And if you have any of the leads, business leads coming forward, please email them to enquiry@zilliqa.com, and I will actually relay back to you guys on that as much as possible. And the immediate plans for open finance in Zilliqa. So with ZilSwap actually launching in Q3 this year, the first thing that we're going to do is to create the liquidity pool for ZIL XSGD pair. And we're going to actually create a liquidity incentive for people to mint XSGD on the Xverse platform, and also pool their ZIL XSGD that's minted into the liquidity pool. And they will receive rebate tokens in return, which could be in the form of ZIL itself or could be in the form of ZRC tokens. And we are still in the midst of discussing the mechanics and details together with our partner Switcho. The rewards for the rebate tokens will be put up on a weekly basis so that the liquidity providers can actually claim the rewards on a weekly basis. And we're going to set up the same incentive structure for other tokens that are going ahead for the liquidity pools. So one of which is actually the focus, which is ZIL BUSD pair, after the ERC20 to ZRC2 bridge by Switcho team is created. There are also more stablecoins that we're targeting, like for example USDC, USDT, and we want to suck as much liquidity away from other blockchains like Ethereum, Tron, into Zilliqa as possible. The switcher bridge is targeted to launch in Q4 of this year, and we're going to integrate it directly into the ZIL swap exchange, so it'll be easy for people to interface with it. So what we really think of the Open Finance user experience will be like for example, for the use case of cross-border C2B, cross-border settlement. And if you take a look at the trade between Bob, who is the user, and Alice, who is the merchant, Bob will just deposit the SGD into Express and receive the newly minted XSGD in his Mulet wallet, and he will use the XSGD to pay using Mulet towards Alice, directly within the wallet itself. And if Mulet already integrated ZIL swap exchange APIs inside it, Alice could actually receive BUSD directly, because there's a swap going in the background that's happening. The backend is trying to power this. So Alice doesn't really have to have any exposure to SGD at all. She could just receive BUSD for her goods and services from Bob. And what Alice can do after, she can use the ZBUSD that she has within her Mulet wallet and put it and deposit it into Binance Exchange and receive USD in return in her bank account. So this is kind of like the whole user experience we'll see for cross-border C2B settlements that we're going forward. And what are the future plans for OpFi adoption? So first thing first, we're going to create open API connectors on ZIL swap DEX. And with that, we can actually integrate easily into wallets services, for example, Mulet, as we explained earlier, and also with other things like lending services, which also requires a DEX in the middle. And this will make it so that the open finance ecosystem and Zilliqa is more composable, and you can build layers upon layers of financial technology on top of it, and you'll create a permissionless innovation of open finance stack on top of it. And we're also going to talk to more issuers of ASEAN stablecoins, such as the focus is going to be on like the IDR, which is the Indonesian rupee, and also VND, which is Vietnam Dong. We're currently in the midst of discussing with our partners right now in order to create and mint such tokens, stablecoins. And once they are minted, we are also going to create liquidity pool incentives for the ZIL IDR pair and the ZIL VND pair on top of ZIL swap. So we can facilitate more FX trades between, for example, SGD to IDR, IDR to USD, and also VND to USD and VND to SGD. We're also going to work with centralized exchanges to help list ZIL fiat pair, for example, ZIL IDR and ZIL VND on more centralized exchanges out there that are popular, so that we can create a more liquid market there, and the market makers for the ZIL swap DEX could arbitrage between the centralized exchange pair and also the pair on top of the ZIL swap DEX, so that we can maintain the packs and to prevent the spread on the ZIL swap DEX from being too much. So this is the few things that we're really going to work ahead in order to make sure that we can actually facilitate such cross-border settlements and trade finance, and also other kind of use cases that we might not have think of. But last of all, we're also going to work on compliance tools. Open finance must actually work together with the regulators in order to be compliant in future, and that's going to be one of the main focus for Zilliqa going forward. We're going to work with our partners within ZIL in order to create compliance tools in order to fulfill things like the AML laws, to fulfill the KYC requirements, and also the FTA travel rule that is going to be implemented by June of 2021 next year. So we're going to be the first mover in that. We want to push ahead with this and create a compliant and also open finance ecosystem on top of Zilliqa. So with that, I'll conclude this presentation. Thank you very much for your time for listening to me. I hope you have a happy 3rd anniversary for Zilliqa. Happy ZIL Tree Day. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.